Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 10 of the Master's Formula program. We have looked at pretty much an entire system of how to build and run a successful real estate career. A lot of stuff. We've got recordings of everything. We're actually relaunching this full program in April. We'll be doing it again. We encourage you to take part and get in there, remind yourself, because all sorts of great things that you're not going to get or keep unless if you repeat them. But this week, on the final week, Richard Robbins is going to be talking about the client experience and the secret to taking consistent action, because all of this stuff doesn't really matter if you're not going to take action. That really is the key, right? So let's look today at taking consistent action and what that looks like from a client experience point of view. So without further ado, here's Richard Robbins with week 10.
Welcome back. So good to be with you again. Thanks for being here. What I want to talk about now is the client experience. And I've been reading a lot lately about the whole idea of upping the game when it comes to client experience. And what they're actually saying, many experts are saying, is that client experience is going to be the new battleground in business. Yes. It's not as much going to be about dollars and cents. It's not as much going to be about even the quality of the product. It's going to be more about the experience. And they did a survey, and here's what they found, that 86% of people said they would pay more for a great client experience. Now, think about theaters. If you think about it, they have the VIP theaters now where people are paying more for a little larger seats and to get served right there in their seats. Now, Steve Jobs, who is probably the best at client experience, okay, the way they package, the look of their products, the whole deal, he said, you got to start with the customer experience and work your way backward towards technology, not the other way around. And I couldn't agree with them more. So what I want to do is I want to take you through a few ideas on how you can create a way better client experience. So I want to discuss the 3 pillars of advocacy. Now, do you remember, way back in the early modules, I talked about the 4 levels of a relationship. We got dissatisfied, we've got satisfied, we've got loyal, and we've got advocacy. So advocacy is we're trying to create clients for life, but not just clients that want to do business with us, but people that will actually go out on a limb and recommend you to people that are thinking about buying and selling real estate. So pillar number 1 is this. We must provide tremendous value all the time. So you got to keep up in your game. You got to be innovative in terms of how you're going to provide more value to the marketplace. You can't just rely on what you've done before. So you might have been providing tremendous value, but you don't stop there. No, always thinking about how can you provide more value. Don't assume your clients are always going to do business with you. No, you got to wake up and you got to earn it every single day. And pillar number 2 is we have to have shared values. So if you want to create a great client experience, right, we've got to have shared values. If you want to create advocacy, we got to have shared values. Because when we had shared values, we automatically start to feel connected. And I'm a believer that we shouldn't pursue business, we should attract business. Now, one of the challenges is I find that many agents or many people in business, they try to be everything to everybody. They try to satisfy every single customer all of the time, even though the customer is being unrealistic. Not convinced we need to do that. I get the customer is always right sort of thing, but I'll tell you, there's been many coaching clients that we have fired, and I'm telling you the truth, because their expectations were way beyond what was possible. They were putting too much pressure on our staff, right? They were causing too much chaos internally. And the best thing we could do is we could let them go and maybe move to another company that could give them maybe what it was that they were looking for, that we didn't offer because we didn't share those values. So For instance, if you look at our organization, we have something called the RI Charter, okay? And it takes you through what we believe, what we stand for. Now, this is right on our website. And if people read this, and if they didn't agree with it, they probably wouldn't choose to do business with us. But we're okay with that. We can't be everything to everybody, but here's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to pursue success, we're trying to attract success. See, what you do is you will start to attract to you people that are similar to who you are. So when I read through this, I go, we care, we deliver the unexpected, we do what we say we're going to do, and we say we're going to do it. We can't always do things right. We make mistakes, and so do you, but we'll always do the right thing. We're always trying to make the complex simple. We work together as a single world-class team. We don't hire people. We invest in people that believe in what it is we do. We know our greatest opportunities often appear as challenges. We know everything we do counts. We're fun-loving, we're curious, we're lifelong, we're truthful, we're purposeful, we're productive. So anyway, I went through them quick, but you can see the point here is that when you choose to decide who you are, then you will start to attract the people to you that have common values. And of course, the third pillar is what you want to do is you want to create an extraordinary client experience. So I want you to look at this. I want you to look at every touch you have with the client and think to yourself, how do I make that a great experience? Like, what part of what I do is non-negotiable? Like, do you have what I call defined client journeys from the time that, the phone rings or you get an email, all the way through to that relationship comes to an end? Have you figured out exactly how to do that? Are you always trying to figure out how you can deliver the unexpected to the people that you work with? So a couple ways of doing that is this. Number one, embrace structure. I find a lot of agents that they don't have systems, they don't have checklists, right? And if you think about it, if you want a great business, it has to be system dependent, not people dependent. See, people make mistakes. Systems don't. See, what happens when you're people dependent is you might get a listing and you're thinking to yourself, well, what do I need to do today to that listing, right? And you go through what you think you have to do, but you will miss things, or you'll get it done in the wrong day, or you won't do it when you said you were going to do it. But the minute that you create a checklist or a system, and by the way, what is the difference between a checklist and a system? A system is just a series of checklists. That's all it is. So now what happens is when you create structure, then you don't need to remember everything. When you create structure, you don't need to have discipline. You get to take the guesswork out of everything that you're doing, right? So imagine when a lead comes in, do you have a checklist that you follow? Before you go on a listing appointment, do you have a checklist that you follow? Before you actually go out and meet with a buyer, do you have a checklist that you follow? When you're on the listing appointment, do you have a checklist? When you get the listing, do you have a checklist, right? When they finally move into their house, do you have a checklist? Create checklists for everything, because then what you can do is you can check all those things off. I fly an awful lot, right? I'm always on planes. I'm always in airports. Now, guess what a pilot does when a pilot first gets into the plane? What do you think they follow? They follow a what? Checklist, okay? The person that, the customer service representative, right, that looks after all of the passengers, what do you think they follow when they first get on the plane? A checklist. Because they don't want it to be people dependent, they want it to be system dependent, because they know then they're providing the same level of service all of the time, with always trying to up the game and make it better. So what are some systems that you might want to create for your business? Well, maybe a lead generation system, right? A lead follow-up system, a lifetime referral system, database system, your listing system, your buyer system. And again, a system is a series of checklists. Now, what might you create in terms of checklists? What about a door-knocking checklist, right? Which is part of your lead generation system. Open house checklist, listing file checklist, buyer file checklist, post-sale checklist. See, these are some of the things you want to start to create in your business, because now what you're doing is you're going to create a consistent client experience, and then, of course, you always want to be innovating and say, how can I make it better? When you get people talking about you to other people about what a great experience they had, that's when your business will organically start to grow on its own. So if you want sample checklists, if you want sample systems, all you have to do is you can download. We have made it. We are now in the final stretch. Can you believe that? We're in the final stretch of this whole program. And what I'm going to talk about now is the secret to getting yourself to take action. And this is a big one. So let me ask this. Do you ever feel exhausted? Do you ever feel deflated? Do you ever feel insanely busy? You know what I mean? And you feel like you're got lots of movement. You know what I mean? But you're going nowhere. You don't feel like you're getting where you want to go. I think we've all had that. Now, you've heard me say this throughout the program, but the great secret in life is not knowing what to do. It is doing what we know. So I hope you have that ingrained now, because when I look at all successful people, right, they get it done. However, when I also look at successful people, I don't see them as busy as I see them productive. Now, we do multi-day events. And I always find it interesting because in the front part of the room, we have what we call VIP seating. And these are people that pay more money to be up front. In the back, we have what we call general seating. Now, obviously, up front, the people that are paying, substantially more for the ticket, they tend to be probably more productive. Not all, but many are. And our coaching members are always sitting right up front. Now, I'm standing on stage in front of 1,400 people, right? And I'm looking out at the audience, and I'm always surprised at our coaching members, and many of them, I know exactly how much money they make. I know how many deals they do. I know how big their business is. And I'm always surprised how unbusy they are. And then I look at the back. Somebody brand new to the business, somebody's doing 6 deals a year and they can't get off their phone. It's unbelievable. They get up in the middle of summer, they're running out, then they're back in, then they're gone, then they're back in. And when there's a break, they're not meeting anybody. No, they don't have time to meet anybody because their face is stuck where? In their phone. See, those people are busy. And busy is easy, everybody. We all can be busy. Busyness is not a problem in our lives. Productivity is. And that's what this is about. And I want you to think about this, everybody. Time cannot be managed. You can't manage time. It's impossible. Think about this. Time is perishable. Time is going to continue to move no matter what you choose to do with it. And time doesn't care what you do with it. You choose to do what you want with time, and time will deliver on your choices. Time doesn't matter at all. They go, hey, you go ahead and choose. You decide what to do with me. Doesn't matter to me at all, but I will deliver on what you choose to do with me, right? See, we can't manage time. We can only manage ourselves. That's right. So the secret is we have to start managing this right here, not time. Nobody else is a problem. We all, every day, have exactly the same 24 hours. It's not the amount of time we have. It's what we choose to do with it. After decades of research, and believe me, this has always been something I've been so interested in, always intrigued by, when we all get the same amount of time, how come some people achieve at such a high level and others always struggle? And here's what I've discovered. I believe that there are 7 non-negotiable habits that the most successful people in the world have mastered. And here's habit number 1, is book your time off before your time on. This is exactly the opposite of what most people do. So in other words, most people, they work, and when there's no work left, then they get back and relax. But I go, is that really the way? Wouldn't it make sense that maybe we should decide when our holidays are going to be, literally, 6 months in advance? Because isn't life primary, and isn't business designed to fund our life? Doesn't it make sense that we want to adjust our income up to our dreams so we can take more time off? See, when I look at top producers, and believe me, I know a lot of them, we've worked with thousands of them. Most of them are taking 4 to 8 weeks off per year. Now, why is this powerful? Because how do you get just before a holiday, right? What happens just before a holiday? You get busy, wouldn't you all agree? Right. And then you get so much done, right? And the reason you get so much done is because it's called strategic urgency. You have no choice but to get a lot done because you know you're leaving on a certain date. So you'll do everything necessary right up to that date to get everything done. But if you weren't leaving, you wouldn't have got as much done. So imagine if you start booking more time off, you're starting to compress the amount of time you work, and we naturally become more productive, and we will only do what is absolutely necessary to produce the results we want to produce. So number one, not only holidays, but why not say, I'm off every Sunday. I do not work Wednesday and Friday evenings. I do not work Saturday afternoon. Whatever works for you. You know what I mean? You create your own schedule. But the first thing to do every Sunday night is book all your time off. So book your time off every week, your time off every month. Maybe you're going to take an extended weekend once a month. Why not? How many hours do we have in our life? I talked about earlier, right? If we lived 800,000 hours, right? We can't wait to live. Let's live now. But not only that, when you're off, what are you doing? You're recharging, right? You're re-energizing yourself. You're getting ready for sort of a bit of another run until the next time you take some time off. So that's the first thing you got to do is book all of your time off before your time on. And habit number 2 is create a magnificent morning. I believe the morning is the rudder of the day. And I have read hundreds of biographies on successful people. And what do most successful people do? They wake up early in the morning. Wouldn't you all agree? Sure they do. So I have my own theory on that. Now, I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but just stick with me for a moment. Now, what do most people do late at night? The last hour of the day, what do most people do, right? It's pretty much entertainment. Would you agree? You know, you're watching mindless TV, YouTube, looking at social media sites, you're sort of surfing the internet, you're maybe eating, you may be drinking, whatever the case is. But the last hour of the day is not usually productive. So imagine if you did this. If you took 1 hour at the end of the day and you move that to the beginning of the day. Because wouldn't you all agree what we generally do early in the morning is more productive activities? Whether it's exercise, do our emails, plan our day, plan our week, get focused on what we're going to do. And if you took 1 hour from the end of the day of unproductive time and you put that at the beginning of the day, do you realize this? Over 10 years, it would give you 6 months of productive time. Like, that's a massive amount of time. So I have a theory that one of the reasons that people that are highly productive tend to get up early is because it gives them that extra time in the morning, which makes them very productive. But the second reason is this. Do you realize that making decisions, having willpower, and having discipline requires tremendous energy? See, every decision you make, you're using energy. You look in your closet, what am I going to wear today? You're using energy. You think, what do I need to do today? Using energy. You start thinking, should I do that? Shouldn't I do that? Should I exercise today? I don't know if I should. I'm not sure if I feel like it or not. Have you ever noticed we're always talking ourselves into action or talking ourselves out of action? It's interesting, isn't it? Right? We have these internal dialogues. We all do. Well, when you're going through that, guess what you're using? You're using energy. Now, here's what's also interesting is the brain only makes up 2% of our body's weight. 2%. But it uses 20% of our energy. 20% of our energy. So the challenge is the mornings are more productive because we have more willpower. We have more discipline. We do the hard work in the morning where it's more difficult to do at night when we start to lose energy. So what are some things you might want to consider doing in the morning? Well, I call it R&R time, review and reflection time. Now, I've always found it interesting that we wake up and we have a shower, we wash our hair, we brush our teeth, and we get all ready on the outside, so we appear good on the outside. But how much time did we spend getting the inside ready? How much time did we spend powering this powerful, powerful computer we have in our head, powering it up? And generally, not much. So imagine if we took the first 15 or 30 or maybe an hour of the morning, and what we do is we sit down, we review our day, we plan our day, right? Maybe what we do is we read something positive. Maybe we review our goals and remind ourselves about what it is we want to achieve and where we're going in life. Maybe we meditate, maybe we pray, but we take some time alone first thing in the morning to power up this baby. Put good stuff in. See, crap in, crap out, right? So we want to put great stuff in. And then the next thing we do is now we move our body. Maybe go for a walk, do a little exercise, whatever exercise means to you. Because now we've got the brain ready, now we've got the body ready, and now we're ready to rock, okay? Have a healthy breakfast, and then start out your day at work with lead generation and lead conversion and lead follow-up. Do the most important stuff first thing in the morning. See, think about this. You have two types of appointments. You have appointments with yourself, and you have appointments with other people. Now, appointments with yourself would consider exercise, R&R time, making phone calls, phoning back leads, trying to set appointments. Like, they're appointments with yourself. And generally speaking, if you didn't show up for those, nobody would know, right? Nobody's going to phone you and say, were you supposed to prospect me today? Hey, were you supposed to follow up with me today? Generally not. You're not going to hear that, right? So there's no discipline in those, right? Because they're with ourselves. So there's nobody involved. There's no accountability. But appointments with other people, so we got to show up for a listing presentation. We're going to meet a buyer at a house. Somebody's come to the office. We're going to take them out and show them property. We're going to negotiate an offer. They're appointments with other people. So you have a lot of discipline there because you're meeting somebody else. There's accountability. So here's my theory. If you want to be way more productive, take appointments with yourself, prospecting, lead follow-up, lead conversion, right? Maybe exercise, R&R time, whatever it is that you have trouble doing that are very important, not urgent, very important, that need to be done, and do those in the morning when you have willpower. And then book appointments with yourself or with others in the afternoon when you're a little more tired and you're not as disciplined, you don't have as much willpower because you show up because you have accountability. Do you see where I'm going with this? So most people say, oh, I'm going to do all my appointments with everybody else in the morning, and then I'll see what I get done in the afternoon, so I get the afternoon off. Guess what you get done in the afternoon? Not very much, right? And that's exactly what you do, is you take the afternoon off. So, second habit, create a magnificent morning. Create a routine, and try to follow the same routine. Now, I know a lot of you going, I don't like routine. You go, routine's boring. You know what success is? I believe, and I truly believe this, success is mastering repetitious boredom. That's what success is. It's doing the same things that work over and over and over and over and over again. Think about getting in better physical shape. What do you need to do? Do the same things over and over. That's called exercise, 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 right? That's repetitious boredom. See, people that, don't want to be bored, they don't want to do the same thing, guess what? They have no routine, and generally will not be as productive as those that do. Now, your routine has to be productive, of course, but don't be afraid of routine. Habit number 3 is create and follow a schedule. So here's my recommendation. Just get out a week at a glance. You can do this on your computer. You could even print out a hard copy if you want. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to block off, and I call it time blocking. You've probably heard this before, but the important activities. Because now what you're trying to do is you're trying to expand the routine I talked about from a morning to more of a week. Now, I know a lot of people don't like structure. However, structure is critical because structure allows you to protect yourself from yourself. I find it interesting that a lot of people get into real estate because, oh, what a great business. I can go to work when I want. I can go home when I want. Yeah. I can do whatever I want when I want to do it. What a great business. All I got to do is sell a few homes and I make tons of money. Well, when I meet with most people and say, how's that working for you? They're broke. Yes, they're broke. Because they have no what? They have no structure. So what to do, you'll notice in your workbook that we put a sample schedule in there, okay? And you create whatever one you want. But here's what I think you should do is create time blocks. So if you said, I'm going to go door knocking, I want to talk to 10 people, give yourself a block of time to get it done. Because when you say, I'm going to start a task at a certain time at 9 o'clock and I'm going to finish it at 11 o'clock, that means you have a start time and a finish time. And when you give yourself a start time and a finish time, what ends up happening, it creates strategic urgency again. And that means we will only do in that block of time what is necessary to produce the result that we want to produce. So that's the power and have a start time and a finish time, and that's why you block it into your schedule. See, if you think about it, a task will expand to the amount of time we give it. So what we want to do is reduce the amount of time so we can be highly, highly productive. So what might you want to time block? Well, exercise, R&R time, family time, book it off. Say, I'll be home by 6 o'clock. And if you say you're going to be home by 6, be home by 6. You know, lead generation time, block that off. Lead follow-up, block that off. Date night, block that off. Financial meetings, block that off. See, they're all important activities, okay, that don't make a lot of noise. Now, you're going to have all kinds of urgent activities that make noise, and that will get your attention. But you're going to get those done anyway. So block off the important ones. Is lead gen important? Yes. Is date night important? Yes. Is family time important? Yes. Is exercise important? Yes. Having a monthly financial meeting important? Yes. So block off the important activities that don't make a lot of noise that will improve the quality of your life. Okay, habit number 4, we need to manage distractions. You know, there's a gentleman by the name of Marshall Goldsmith, and he wrote a really cool book that I enjoyed reading called Triggers. So if you get a chance to read it, you should consider reading it. And in there he said, all of us have all these triggers in our life, right? So what would a trigger be? So imagine if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you look in your rear view mirror and you see red lights flashing. That's a trigger. And that triggers you to do what? Usually hit the brakes and slow down. You walk into a house, you smell cookies. That is a trigger. You know, you're running a race and you see the finish line. That is a trigger. You start to speed up. So the whole idea in this book was he said, we move through the world and we don't realize how many triggers there are in our life. And triggers are distractors. And the challenge is distraction is probably the greatest threat to our productivity. Now, I said way back in a bunch of modules ago, I said that attention is the new currency. So everybody wakes up every day and they're trying to get other people's attention so they can sell them something, because if a store can't get my attention, if a business can't get my attention, they can't sell me something. So we all wake up as businesses, and our goal is to go out in the world and try to get everybody else's attention, right? So everybody is doing it with you every day. And now with our phones, it's become a major problem. Listen to some of these statistics. It said that 69% of people, the last thing they do before they go to sleep is check their phone. It's also said that 43% of the people, if they wake up in the middle of the night, the first thing they do is they look at their phone. 38% of people say they cannot finish dinner with friends or relatives without looking at their phone. Crazy. Get this. 75% of people admit to using their phone in the bathroom. And 30% will admit they will not go to the bathroom without their phone. Now, that would be called multitasking, everybody. But anyway, get this. When you look at somebody, if somebody's on their phone, 51% of the time when they're on their phone, they're on social media. Over 50% of the time on their phone, they're on social media. And 80% of the time they're on social media, they're not being productive, they're trying to be entertained. Like, they're called distractions, right? So now all of a sudden, if you've got all these notifications set up on your phone, what are you? You're being distracted, right? They're the triggers. So I just want you to consciously, because we do this subconsciously. I get all the time doing it myself, right? So what are some triggers that you should try to avoid? What about alerts on your phone, right? In terms of setting up your notifications. People walking into your office, that could be a distraction. Junk food in your house, right? All of these things have become distractions. Open up your fridge and there's junk food in there. So I just want you to give some thought, and you can write this down in your workbook. What are some things that you're allowing to distract you? Now, many people are always looking for distractions because it allows them to get out of reality, right? But if you want to be really productive, what are some distractions that you need to try to avoid? Right? So now, maybe you need to take all of your social media apps and put them into a folder, right? So you got to go, a little bit deeper to actually find them. I don't know what it is for you. Maybe it's your family is your distraction at times. You just got to say, listen, can we talk at this time, because you can't be texting me all the time. I got to get some work done, unless it's an emergency, of course. So anyway, give all of that some thought, but understand what are your triggers and what triggers are distracting you from being productive that are causing you to be busy. Let's move on to habit number 5. You want to embrace accountability in all areas of your life. Again, most people don't embrace accountability. What do they actually do? They try to avoid accountability. Now, why would they try to avoid accountability, right? Because they don't want anybody telling them what to do. They don't want to have to do things. They want to do it when they want to do it. But again, creates a problem, right? See, accountability marries our intention with execution. See, when we're accountable, then what we're doing is we're taking the actions necessary, right, that are going to be in line with what we want to produce in the world, because we gotta execute. Remember, the great secret in life isn't knowing what to do, it's doing what it is we know. So give some thought to this. Where do you struggle where you need accountability? Because whatever it is you struggle doing with consistency, that you should be doing with consistency, that's where you need to bring accountability to your life. Like when I look at our coaching program, a lot of people say, what is the greatest benefit of your coaching program? Well, I like to say all the stuff we teach, because we've got the amount of content we have is incredible, right? But I think it's the accountability. I think somebody hires a coach because they want more accountability in their life. And I've had a trainer now for probably 15 or 17 years, right? The same person. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think after 15 or 17 years, I know how to lift weights? What do you think? Hey, I probably got that one figured out, right? Why on earth would I have a trainer? Because what does the trainer do? He gets me to take action. See, it's not knowing what to do, it's doing what we know. So I want to say about that is that don't avoid accountability, embrace it. See, the weak avoid it, the strong embrace it. The strong say, I want accountability. I know what I need to do. And by God, I want to get it done. I will do anything in my power to get this done, which means I will be accountable. So find yourself maybe an accountability partner in your office that you can work together to hold each other accountable. Maybe your broker or manager will hold you accountable. Maybe, somebody in your family will hold you accountable. Maybe you need to hire a company like ours to hold you accountable. I don't know what the answer is, but embrace accountability. Okay, let's move on to habit number 6. We just got 2 more to go, and it's called guard your associations. I've read a number of times that it says we will become the 5 people we hang around with the most. I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, my mom and dad were very, very concerned with my friends. They always wanted to know what my friends were like. They wanted me to bring them home. They wanted to get to know them. And I never realized at the time what that was all about, but now I do, because they were guarding my what? They were guarding my associations. See, my parents wanted me to be around people that were going to inspire me. They're going to motivate me. They were going to lift me up, right? They were going to hold me accountable. They're going to help make me great, right? And I know back then you're not thinking about being great, but you know what I'm talking about. But they didn't want me around with people that were doing all the bad things, because they knew that if you hang around with those people enough, guess what you're going to start doing? Whatever it is they're doing. Come on. If you want to quit drinking, you can't go to the bar. If you want to quit drinking, you shouldn't be hanging around with people that drink, because what'll happen over time? Well, think about you as a real estate sales professional. Here's what I know. You can't fly with the eagles if you're always hanging around with the turkeys, right? It just doesn't work. So I look at it and say, what I want to suggest to you, and that doesn't mean you're giving up your friends. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is think about the people in your office. Think about the people in your industry. Who is it you hang out with the most, right? Are you hanging out with the people doing more than you, or are you hanging out with the people doing less than you? Because, see, you got 2 choices. You can be the big fish in the small sea, or you can be the little fish right in the big sea. What I suggest is start taking people out for lunch that are doing way more than you. Have a coffee with them, have a drink with them after work. Like, start reaching out to people that are doing way more than you and start to develop these relationships. Start going to conferences where people are doing more than you. Get out of your comfort zone, stretch yourself, because when you start to get around these people, you will start to become who those people are. Over time, you will start to move in that direction. Think about this. If you and I go for a walk, so you and I are walking down the street, and all of a sudden, you pick up speed, right? When you start to pick up speed, what do you think I'm probably going to do? I'll probably start to pick up speed. Because if I don't pick up speed, we're going to separate. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's exactly what conditioning is. Conditioning is the people we're hanging around with. And what most people do we're around will probably start to do. So just give some thought to your associations. And number 7. Yes, we've made it to habit 7. It's called be happy. Now I know you're probably going, oh, come on, what a light topic, you know what I mean? A fluffy topic. What are you talking about being happy and all that sort of stuff? But here's the deal. See, a lot of people, don't understand that happiness leads to action. They think action leads to happiness. But no, that's not it at all. It has been proven time and time and time and time again that happy people are more productive. Yes, the Harvard Business Review said that happy people are 31% more productive and have 27% higher sales. Pretty good deal, right? There was a study done. It was one of Sean Acor's books, and they studied 275,000 people, and they discovered beyond the shadow of a doubt that happiness leads to success. Success does not lead to happiness. Let me talk about some simple ways for you of being happy. Like really simple. Number 1, they say exercise leads to happiness. It makes us happier, right? Like after you're finished exercising, you feel better about yourself. The second is spending more time with your family and friends, the people that you love the most, right? Like sometimes we spend so much time at work and we sacrifice what is most important in our life. And I understand that we all want to be prosperous. We all want to do well. And God knows I've made mistakes, when I was younger and when I first started selling real estate. But I promise you, I learned the hard way. When I started having kids, I completely changed the way I sold real estate because I made a decision that my family was coming first. Number 3, practice gratitude. Practice giving. Do things for other people. See, there's something innate in all of us, that when we do something for somebody else, we feel good. See, the giver gets the most. Just by holding a door open for somebody, buying somebody a coffee, all of these little things, they make us feel good. Yes, they make the other person feel good, but just as importantly, they make us feel good. Like waking up in the morning and writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Here's what I know. You can choose to focus on what's wrong in your life, and you can find lots of those. I can too. Or you can choose to focus on what's right in your life. And you can find lots of those too, and so can I. And that's just a choice, right? See, if you think about happy people, motivated people, they're focusing on what's right. They're focusing on the possibilities. They're focusing on their goals. They're focusing on their dreams. They're focusing on what they're going to build. See, they're looking forward, called future focus. When you look at people that, maybe aren't as happy, they're focusing on everything that is wrong. And by the way, half the time, everything that is wrong is not their fault. No. It's not their fault, right? Listen to this for a minute. I read this story years ago, and I found this so interesting. And what they did was they comparing people that were born in our country to people that moved to our country. And the people that were born in our country, and they did this study of many, many people, and they said that many people that are born in the country that weren't working, they would go online and they would look at the ads, or they would open up the newspaper, whatever they were doing, right? And they go, oh boy, there's no good jobs anymore. But then, new immigrants that move to the country, they move here, and they see exactly the same ads, right? They're going on the same sites. They're reading some of the same classifieds. And they wake up and their eyes pop out of their head and they go, look at all the jobs here. Look at all the jobs. Unbelievable, right? Now, they're looking at exactly the same thing. right? One is grateful. One is so thankful for the opportunities that are in front of them, and the other, not as much. And wouldn't you agree? It's just the lens from which we view the world. We can choose to be grateful, or we can choose to be entitled, right? Totally up to us. We can choose to have gratitude for all of the great things in our life, even when we're going through something challenging, which we all do. Okay, number 4, practice simplicity. You know, the old KISS system, keep it simple, stupid. You know, it's proven that happier people don't have more things, right? But they have better experiences. See, happiness is about the experience, not about buying things. I've always said the more things that we have, the more things we got to look after, right? You got 2 cars, right? More work than one. You got 2 houses, more work than one. Like, practice simplicity. They have proven that the happiest people don't necessarily have more things, but they enjoy better experiences. So they enjoy maybe more family dinners. They enjoy more holidays if possible, right? Because think about it, family dinners, holidays, what do they create? They create memories. They create great memories. And when we grow up, if we have a life full of great memories, we tend to be happier. So happiness isn't about things, it's about experiences. It's about keeping things simple. It's about understanding that we should love what it is we have, not always be upset because we don't have what it is we want. And then number 5 is this: find meaning in your work. See, happy people, they look at what it is they do for a living as an opportunity to serve. See, if you look at selling real estate as just about selling houses and making money and getting the next commission check or trying to get rich or whatever the case is, well, guess what? It's all about you. That's all you're trying to do is get. And when you don't get, you're disappointed. You're not happy then, are you? But if you find meaning in your work, if you look at every opportunity that you have in a listing presentation to help somebody make the best decision they can. Now, they might choose to go with you. They might choose not to go with you. No big deal. Don't allow that to bother you. What should bother you is how did you control yourself, right? Did you go in and do the best job you could to help those people? When you're working with a buyer, did you do the best job you could to help those particular buyers? See, find meaning in your work. It's the contribution you make. See, giving starts the receiving. That's right. So the 5th thing is, when it comes to happiness, is find meaning in what it is you do. Now, Jim Rohn, who is one of my great mentors, unfortunately, he passed many years ago, a number of years ago, but I went down to Dallas and I went to his seminars, heard him speak many times, and he had a profound impact in my life. He changed my life, that one man. Just by watching him speak, he changed my life. By listening to his CDs way back then, changed my life. And he said this. He said, success is not something to be pursued. It is something to be attracted by the person we become. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think happy people are going to attract more clients? Sure they are, right? Because happiness, you have a certain energy when you're happy, aren't you? And when you're happy and you have good energy, more people want to be around you. Remember what Jim said. He said, success is not something to be pursued. It's something to be attracted by the person that we become. So as I close this out, here's what I want to say to you every day, and I used to talk to my kids about this. My kids would wake up when they're younger. They're older now, but they'd wake up when they're younger, and I'd say, what are you going to do today? And I used to drive them crazy. Like, after a while, they go, Dad, do we have to do this again? You have to keep asking us. We know what we're going to do today, right? I go, you better tell your face, because your face doesn't look like you're going to do it. But anyway, I'd look at them and I'd say, what are you going to do today? And they'd look at me and they'd say, today, we're going to be happy. We're going to do our best. And we're going to have fun. And every day they would wake up and I'd ask them that question. And all of a sudden, we're going to be happy, we're going to do our best, and we're going to have fun. And wouldn't you all agree that each and every day, if all of us just woke up, and if we just decided today, no matter what is going on, because we're going to have great days, we're going to have tougher ones, but today we're going to be happy. And then whatever we choose to do, if we're on a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, right, if we're prospecting, door knocking, whatever we choose to do, you want to know something? If I choose to do it, by God, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to leave nothing on the table when it's over. And also what I'm going to do is every single day I'm going to go out into the world and I'm just going to choose to what? I'm going to choose to have fun. No matter what, I'm going to have fun. Because my theory is when it's no longer fun, we better run. You know what I mean? And I would suggest that if all of us went out every day and if we just said, okay, today I'm going to be happy, today I'm going to do my best, and today I'm going to have fun, I bet you we'd all do just fine, wouldn't we? And we'd probably be wonderful people to be around. So here's your action plan, your final action plan. Number 1, identify your client experience non-negotiables. Remember we talked about client experience? Identify those non-negotiables and say, you know, what am I going to do to create an amazing client experience that everybody wants to tell everybody else about the experience, which is going to lead to more business, right? And by the way, that's giving, isn't it? Number 2, create your ideal day, your magnificent morning, your ideal week, and you can download the template on the site. So go to the template, or go to the site, I should say, download it, and you got all the information there you could ever want. And all I want to say to you, after all these modules and all this time of listening to me, I'm sure you're sick. Enough is enough, I get it. I want to thank you for being a part of it. I want to thank you for choosing us to allow us to do your training. And at the end of the day, remember, it's a beautiful life, everybody. Make it count.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. That concludes our 10-week Richard Robbins program. If you want to rewatch any of the sessions, if you're looking for the material, the link to the workbook, or anything like that, please reach out to your managing broker. We do have this whole group of training running again Tuesday afternoons again, starting in April. You're welcome to take part in the entire thing or just week by week if there's certain ones that you gravitate towards more or that you missed this time around or whatever that might be. But in the meantime, as Richard Robbins had said, you now know quite a bit, but it's not about what you know, it's about doing what you know, and get out there and do it. Thanks, everybody.